Natal officials are assessing the flood damage that claimed the lives of 40 people. 5 people are still missing after the heavy rains left a trail of destruction in Ladysmith and other parts of the province. It all comes as KwaZulu-Natal is still reeling from the aftermath of the April 2022 floods, which claimed the lives of more than 400 people and cost the economy billions of rands due to the damage to infrastructure. Smiso Sokhela lost his mother and 2 other family members in the 2022 floods, and he joins me now live. Thank you very much for joining us, Smiso, and a very good morning to you. You lost your loved ones in the deadly April 22 floods, described as the most catastrophic floods yet recorded in KwaZulu-Natal. It was an incredibly difficult time. What has life been like for you since then? Okay, we'll take you back to Smiso Sokhela as we try and get a sense of understanding on how life has been like since the impact of the April 2022 floods. Sokhela, I understand you can now hear me. Smiso, thank you so much for your time. Just give us a sense of what has life been like for you since losing your loved ones in those deadly April 2022 floods.
Greetings, everyone. Good morning. In terms of the floods, it's something. Obviously, every time it rains, you get triggered. Every time like yesterday, I was traveling in a rural area and I had to cross over a river because there's a bridge there, a very shallow bridge, and it's like such small things just trigger the moments and you remember these things. And whenever you hear in the news that there's people who have suffered and lost their loved ones, it also gets to you. But what's great is to actually take all of these things that have happened and focus on the positive side of things. So as somebody who's gone through the tragedy, and I feel like it's very easy for a person to sink and not have stability and come back to reality, like to normal life, if you're not strong. And I feel like it's a sad thing, but you always try and have a positive mindset and focus on better things. And definitely it's something that is never easy, but it is what it is.
Yeah, grief is certainly very, very challenging. Now, with these heavy rains, which have now wreaked havoc in KwaZulu-Natal since Christmas Eve, 40 people have died and some are still believed to be missing. What has been going through your mind as you watched these devastated families? I mean, one family also losing several members of their family within these floods. What has gone through your mind as you watched or perhaps heard about the devastation?
It's been very sad to hear that, and I can safely say when such things happen, it's very easy to actually just relate with it automatically, even if you don't know the families. Because I feel like whenever disasters happen, I saw that recently something in Japan happened with the tsunami and stuff, and it's like, if even the smallest of things that happen around anyway, you do get a sense of relating with it, and it's something that becomes personal. In terms of what's been going through my mind, definitely I'm in the shoes of those people who have suffered the tragic losses, and I really wish they could find even the family members, because one of the things that's very hard in these situations is that obviously the infrastructure in our country, there's so many elements that are a bit problematic, but now there's a huge need for mental intervention when it comes to mental health for these people, because it's very easy to actually fall into the trap of sinking, as I was saying earlier. So definitely when these things happen, they remind you of what happened, but it's all about thinking and praying for those people who are currently now in the same boat to actually stay afloat in their minds, basically.
In the process of healing and closure, what sort of intervention do you think will be needed? What will be required to support those who have lost their loved ones in such a tragic way?
I would say the first intervention that is needed is empathy for those people who do engage with the actual people. Like, for example, from the news side, when people are engaging with these people, they need to remember that they're still in a moment of shock and all of that. Secondly, with the officials and the people who work with government and so forth, whenever they're dealing with these people, they just need to also make sure they don't make empty promises. Obviously, when these things happen, a lot of things are said, and it's very important to actually just make sure that they give these people time to heal and help them in any way they can. And it's very easy to think just because that family is going through something, everything is going according to plan. It's simple things such as being able to be assisted in different government offices and so forth. If those things take a very quick if those processes are quicker, it makes life easier for the individual. So that's just what I have in mind in terms of that. And it's very important to actually have the families supported mentally, because I feel like that's where a lot of the families who survive lose it, because if you don't have the mental support, it becomes very problematic.
Yeah, the catastrophic April 2022 floods left a lot of people homeless. I mean, people were shocked to lose loved ones, but also shocked to lose their homes, which were buried in mud and sand and rubble. What sort of, processes did you have to follow in terms of rebuilding your life and trying to piece everything together, and also understanding that you perhaps may have lost your home and, on top of that, your loved ones?
It's very sad to say, even up until today, that house is still exactly the same. So there's still rubble at the back, because the environment is an informal it's not an informal settlement, it's a RDP housing project of Quarry Heights. And what happens is the way it was built, where that house is, it's very hard to actually get around digging in the area to remove all the rubble and so forth. So as I'm the eldest at home, so obviously some of these things, it takes time to say, hey, am I ready to go through all of that and all of that? So it's like, I wish if I could have somebody just go and rebuild, and not about rebuilding the house, but just the environment, removing the rubble, removing the trees and all of that, because right now that's what it looks like. And I feel like if in these situations, as you are saying, in terms of the infrastructure, yes, it's a shock, but at the same time, what's important is what I've done as well as the positive side of things. As an aspiring drone pilot and having a drone in my possession, what I've done, I've tried to always engage and support wherever people are going through certain things, like with your search and rescue and so forth, because with that, at least you are able to also see, because sometimes when you're talking about damage that's happening on the ground, it gives you a totally different perspective if you're looking at it from an aerial point of view, because you get to see the areas that are affected from a very different angle. So that's the positive side of what happened that I'm trying to do, and I work with the communities to try and make sure that even like when you guys shared that there's that lady who fell over the road that wasn't built. So such things, I went and documented some of these things, because it's like the infrastructure, it's easy for a politician or for a leader to sit in a position and not see what's really happening on the ground. But if there's footage that is of that nature, they get to see how much the environment is affected.
How much has the environment affected community members? I mean, we're talking about almost a year and a half since the devastation of those floods wreaked havoc within KZN. How is the community dealing with it and managing day-to-day life?
What I've noticed, a lot of people were put in halls, a lot of people were put in different temporary housing, and I have seen an impact and change with a lot of the roads in certain areas, like being rebuilt. But in terms of the people having proper support, there's still a lack there. I'm not going to take away the work that has been done so far, but at the end of the day, there's still a bit of Because some of these, it's like, for example, if you're insured and something happens to your house, you know you can just claim for insurance. But in an environment such as this, it happens that bulk of the time people are not even insured. Obviously, they haven't insured their housing. So then it's something that falls under government, so it becomes a bit problematic. So it's very, very hard, and it becomes a huge challenge when it comes to the whole rebuilding and infrastructure changes. But there's a lot that still needs to be done, especially because obviously the water damaged the roads in such a way that it's a whole project on its own. There is still a huge gap, and it doesn't help when there's more rain and things keep happening while certain things haven't been fixed as yet. Yeah.
We commend you for your courage. Thank you so much for speaking to us on the show. Smiso Sokhela, a victim who lost his mother and 2 other family members in the 2022 catastrophic floods which wreaked havoc in KwaZulu-Natal. Thank you for your time. Now, still